We all love turning on the radio or hitting shuffle on the iPod and hearing, "I Want to Hold Your Hand" or "Love Me Do," "Hey Jude" or "All You Need Is Love." The Beatles are the most influential band of the 1960s, if not all time. Their songs have both influenced our way of life and inspired us to do great things both in and out of music. As a musician, growing up, I definitely looked up to the Beatles, and they had a huge influence on me both musically and inspirationally in everything that I did. I can sit up here and talk the Beatles up for hours and just tell stories of how great they are, but the experts have a few things to say themselves. A couple of critics from Rolling Stone magazine, Simon and Schuster, said, "The impact of the Beatles, not only on rock and roll, but on all of Western culture, is simply incalculable. As musicians, the Beatles proved that rock and roll can embrace a limitless variety of harmonies, structures, and sounds." When the Beatles came to America in 1964, they took America by storm, practically steamrolling everything modern American rock stood for, along with surfer rock. Teenage girls suddenly saw a new image and icons to adore. Just about everything they did touched to gold in the first part of the 1960s. When it was all said and done and the damage was recorded, they had accomplished more in 9 years than most bands have in 30 to 40-year careers and are still ongoing today. The exact number of records sold from the Beatles worldwide is impossible to calculate because they've sold records on cassettes, tapes, 8-tracks, vinyl, in all the countries in the world, and to this day continue to sell CDs, but they know it's definitely somewhere over the 100 billion mark, and no band has even come close. In the US alone, the Beatles have sold over 166 million records. They've had 32 top 10 singles recorded. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Club Hearts Band voted Rolling Stone's greatest album of all time. They were the group with the most weeks on the Billboard Hot 100 at 609 weeks. Rolling Stone voted the Beatles the greatest band of all time. Now, by the last show, August 1929, 1966, they played over 1,400 shows in 9 years. They held the record for the most ticket sales until just recently when the Beatles sold them out just a few years ago. We as fans have enjoyed the music of the Beatles, but major artists have been influenced by the Beatles as well, such as Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. Brian was the main writer, composer, and arranger of the Beach Boys, one of the most famous American bands of all time, and he spent a lot of time with the Beatles towards the end of the 1960s. Brian stated about Phil Spector, the Beatles' manager. He said, "You can use echoes on the drums, and you can combine 3 guitars to get 1 sound, and add pianos to that, and you get 1 big wall of sound." Phil Spector's influence on the Beatles and the Beach Boys also carried over to the Eagles and a lot of other great American bands. The psychedelic sound the Beatles had made so famous carried on to the Beach Boys and a lot of other American bands. People's opinions about the Beatles may always be mixed, but the statistics definitely aren't. The statistics stand; they can't be wrong. The Beatles are something we can all relate to, and hundreds of great songs have been influenced by them and will continue to do so. The roots of hip-hop, techno, house, and country can all be traced to the Beatles, and wherever the future in music takes us, you can definitely bet the Beatles will have something to do with it.